Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Ecoffee with Experts. I'm your host, Matt Fraser. And on today's show, I have with me Harry Dance. Harry is the Digital Marketing Director of Kayo Digital, a full-service digital marketing and web development agency located in Kent, UK. He has a Bachelor's of Science degree in psychology from the University of Leicester and a diploma in digital marketing from the Chartered Institute of Marketing. And he is also an award-winning marketer. Harry has extensive experience working with a wide range of companies to assist them in achieving their business goals. And when not working on campaigns for client, Harry enjoys playing rugby. He used to be a semi-professional player, cooking, and reading. Harry, thank you so much. Pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the show.
No, thank you very much, Matt. Excited for this. Cool.
Yeah, right on. So, Harry, how did you get started in digital marketing?
Oh, this is going to start in a. Probably you didn't expect this conversation, Matt, I'll be honest. So I did like any digital marketing person. I finished university in psychology in Leicester, as you kind of kindly mentioned. Ex-girlfriend, she lived in the Midlands, what is from Kent, it's about 4 or 5 hours away. So I thought, I'm going to have to get a job close to my girlfriend. I was this is the plan, because I'm going to fall in love. This was the plan. Here we go, Matt.
Yeah.
But I started applying for jobs all around the Midlands. Anyone from England appreciates that the Midlands is quite a large area anyway. It's not a small portion of the world. So I just saw a job saying SEO, didn't know where it was. I went, cool, I'll apply for that because it's closer to my ex. Applied for the job. Worst interview you've ever heard. They asked me, what does an SEO person do? And I'd been reading a bit too much information that was wrong. And I went, well, really, they're just people that don't want websites to be on Google, but they want to be found at the same time. And that's where I started. And somehow they were kind enough to say, yeah, here's your job. Got the job. Ex-girlfriend broke up the day after. And then you find me here, however many years later, 15 years, because I actually enjoyed it. But it's not a traditional way, let's be honest here. But yeah, no, I enjoy it.
No, not a traditional way at all.
No.
Wow. So what did you do then if on the job? Like, did they give you training or did you just learn as you went? Or did you fake it till you made it? Like, or, not to be rude or anything.
No. Let's be honest, most digital marketing people do fake it. But,
that's true.
Yeah. So it was a company called Cray, and they were one of the biggest SEO agencies in the country. And I'll be honest, I got 3 weeks training. That's it, really. And it was the days of before Penguin and Panda had really kicked in. If any niche SEO references here for people, but I did the training, got given 20 clients, and said, "Go away, you start working on it." And then from that, in 3-4 months, it's a bit like, I don't know, trial by fire. Like you make a lot of mistakes very quickly, but you learn a lot quickly. I don't think it's right. You treat clients like that, but that was the approach then. And actually you become a more well-rounded, respected, I think, SEO person at the time then. I think that's the way of putting it, because I would work with multinationals. I'd work with John Smith sausage vans down the road. But I had a variety of clients there, and actually everyone has got their own problems. Everyone's got their own issues with their website, with what they're looking to achieve. At the end of the day, you take a step back and say, how can I help you? And then you work from there.
Yeah. So instead, it's like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And so instead of getting overwhelmed with the huge problem that you see, or trying to think of it, because let's be frank, there's so many things in regards to SEO. I mean, there's the foundations of on-page, off-page, and technical, which we now have as the industry has become more sophisticated and evolved. We've even created those things, but before nobody was really talking about those things. And now, we've become a little bit more sophisticated and structured of an industry and profession that, but there's still problems that need to be solved that require unique thinking. Especially like backlink building and those types of things.
And I think actually, and this is, I'm very simplistic the way I think. I think this is the nature of things. But Google's a product. We provide a service to a product. That product changes. So the service has to evolve with the product. And actually, why do they produce that product? It's to earn money by people clicking on the Google ads. So actually, realistically, what you're doing is you are making sure that company, that product is providing the information that their users want to have. And they want that because they want people coming to Google. They want to use them effectively, and they want them clicking on their ads if they're not clicking on your search results. So it's just simplifying it really, but it's the evolving product nature of it that you have to kind of go, oh, cool, this has changed now. Why? Why has it changed? Oh, because that's not giving their customers the right journey, or however way you look at it. But yeah, no, it's exciting, though. It's a lot of nerd talk. Your family won't know what you do when you tell them about it. But yeah, no, it's cool.
Oh, goodness. I don't even try and explain it anymore. I gave up years ago. Like it's funny how many people confuse IT support with digital marketing.
Oh,
and they think because you work on a computer that you know how to fix it. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm technically savvy enough that I could do it, but I'm not going to for you because you're not going to pay me. and it's not something that I want to. Then I'm all of a sudden, I'm the medic of your computer and you're always calling me when the next thing goes wrong. It's like, no. I got way more things to do than that. So
yeah.
What do you think's been the most memorable part of your career thus far?
I'll give you two answers, I think.
Sure.
I'll give you the first answer that's probably what people expect. They're like,
okay.
What's memorable? Probably, actually, no, 3 answers. Sorry, I'm just going to extend it. You've asked me for one, I'm giving you 3.
Man, that's great.
It's like you can choose which one to edit if you want. I'll edit them up. But
no, it's all good.
Number 1 is probably COVID obviously kicked in, using a dirty word. And we helped a client who had a 30 million pound company who supplied food to schools and restaurants. Schools and restaurants closed. In a week, we helped produce and create a software system as well as the marketing for a B2C company so they could sell to the public, because people couldn't get the supermarkets as well in the UK because of rushes, food shortages, stuff like that. I think they sold 200 grand in a week. So in the first,
shut the front door. So here's what happened. They lost their customer base. For restaurants and schools. And you helped them pivot by creating software in order to enable them to sell to consumers because they still needed to get it. And therefore, they were going to
lose all their staff and stuff like that. So they in the first week we took a week to build the website, the software, did the marketing, and in the first week it was up. So it was down for a week, and then that first week it sold 200 grand worth of food, and it was all in their kind of storage area that was meant to go to the restaurants. And so that was huge. And I'll be honest,
that's amazing.
It was a moment that we didn't. It's like, I don't know, everything lines up some days. And that was one of those days where everything we did lined up perfectly. And you had that sort of impact and you're like, cool, that's cool. So that's number 1. Number 1. Number 2, I think it is most memorable experiences. This is a soppy one. I think it's seeing some of my colleagues change after helping them, like in a sense of getting people's confidence up. Like the one thing that I like in my career, like, have you ever read the 7 Habits of Successful People? Everyone's read it, but
7 Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey.
Yeah. Like one of the things
with the end in mind.
Yeah. If you're at a funeral, how do you want your colleagues to talk about you?
Yeah.
And mine was just like, I want them to talk about that I helped support them and develop and grow. Every time I see that, that's the best thing I can see in a day. I love it.
Yeah.
So that is a huge thing for me. So that I've seen a couple of people, and I won't mention their names because I think, I don't want to watch them in the podcast and get embarrassed. But yeah, I've seen a couple of my colleagues grow and develop, and that's been incredible. And my third one, I'll be honest, is just, I don't know, a highlight. I've got the COVID, I've got people supporting. I think it's just evolving. I think a highlight realistically is being able to sit in situations like this and actually know what you're talking about, but then also know that there's so much more to go. And that's a highlight. I like improving. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, none of us are good enough. And I don't say that in a rude way, but
No. It's perfect. True, though.
Yeah. And that's a highlight, because now the Dunning-Kruger effect, whatever it's called, where you know a little, what means you think you know a lot. Like, I know average. That means I know there's a lot more to learn. And I think that's been huge for me, because every time you learn something, or every time I solve something different, or whatever it is, or do something for a client that's exciting, you're like, cool, that's something I enjoy. And they're kind of like the little highlights throughout. But they're the ones. 3, you can cut them out.
Oh, no, we'll just include them all. They're all great. Did you ever suffer with the imposter syndrome based on what you just shared with me? Yeah.
I still do. I think everyone does. Well, maybe not everyone, but I think we're English, so we've got a nature of that. But but a bit not. I think you do. But I think the marketing's a stressful job, because, and this isn't to play the little violin, because every job is stressful. A nurse is stressful. Like, I talked to my mate who's a nurse, and she'll say something she's done that day, and I will completely look at my life and go, okay, my life's all right, not as stressful. But the nature of marketing is like, even when you do a good job, someone wants more, because actually that's where it is. It's a growth. It's a growth mindset, isn't it? And that's what you need. So actually, you always have imposter syndrome, because you'll never be good at it, because there's a next layer to your journey. So I think so. That's how I see it. But
I suffered with it as well. I had the real awakening was when a guy named Jeff Sauer sent out an email saying he's a marketer, and I'm going to try and have him on the show, but he sent out an email saying, do you suffer from the imposter syndrome? And it was just so enlightening to read that. He teaches agencies. He's an agency coach, but he's launched his own successful agency, and he's a professor at a university, and so on and so forth. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make, it wasn't until someone revealed to me that it was an actual thing that I started to realize, wait a minute here. Like, I never, there was opportunities that I didn't take and things I didn't do as a result, because I didn't think that I was good enough to do those things. And it wasn't until I started to unpack it, and I read a couple of books on it and just some YouTube videos, this, that, and the other thing. And wait a minute. I don't have to be I was always comparing myself to Dan Kennedy or Perry Marshall or Ryan Dice or, some of the big name marketers. And I don't have to be them. And
no, at all.
And I don't have to know everything about everything. I mean, there's so many facets of our industry in digital marketing that it's impossible to be an expert on all of them.
Oh, and you need a lot of cogs to make something work.
Absolutely.
You may have one big cog, but they need a team around them. So for a client as well, when you work with clients, sometimes you can do the best job you've ever done, and you're like, here we go. This is going to be incredible. And sometimes you can do the worst job, and the client normally doesn't know the difference. The success is based on their perception as well. So that's where people like account managers and stuff come in, because actually they're the ones that go, that's good or that's bad, because or you have to, because actually you're very good versus you're very bad to somebody is just I don't know what to accept kind of thing, because they don't know the industry like you. So there is that aspect all the time.
Yeah. How do you find working with clients and ways to communicate?
Oh, I am.
With them, is that part of your? I'm sorry, I don't know if that's part of your job in regards.
No. Very good question. So, it was. So, long story short, I worked for a very big agency. Then I worked for a big accounting and business advisors company, where I had 600 accountants to deal with. So that brings up its own issues. So I kind of got my way of dealing with clients from dealing with them, because actually those 600 people were my clients, even though it was a company. Ended up moving to Kayo Digital. We were pretty much a startup when I joined. So about 8 of us. Obviously it's grown, but there was about 8 of us at the time. And I was the key contact point. And I think I found that the most tough part of my job, but also the most essential part of my job, because communication is huge. I hated it in the sense of when you put your neck on the line there by putting yourself out there, that's the tough thing. But actually, it's the most essential part of any agency or any business, because if you don't communicate what you've done, what's gone wrong, the most important thing, always talk about what's got wrong and how to improve it. You don't hide stuff. And that's the thing. I think I always focus on, and maybe because of my nature, I'll go, this has been really good. This has been bad. Let's focus on the bad here. We've done X, Y, Z to try and resolve it. We're working on it. I think we're going to solve it. Or let's look at something different. Positives are good. They'll keep going. We can talk about them, but let's not focus. It's not a happy sheet. So I think actually the client care, customer service is probably the most essential part of our industry. And I say that because, similar to you talking about that you worked in the car industry.
Yeah.
No one cares about being rude how a car's made.
No, they don't.
No, that they've got some very expensive people making it. They've got some of the top brains making the engine.
Yeah.
Stuff like this. What you care about is the end product and who's selling it to you at some point. It's the salesman.
Yep.
And that's a weird thing.
What people care about.
Yeah. And so it's the same with our industry. Like the marketing could be done in, I don't know, from South Africa to UK to anywhere it wanted. Yeah. But now they've got a relationship with a customer service person. That's they care about at some points. So it's I think it's probably one of the most essential parts of the industry. And again, I'm not a customer service person. If anything, I'm probably the anti one because I'm a bit like Eeyore most days. But I can see the value of that relationships.
Absolutely. What do you think are some of the most important technologies or trends to keep an eye on in the digital marketing space right now?
I'm going to use buzzwords for a couple of minutes now.
Sure.
Yeah, let's talk AI.
Let's talk AI.
Yeah, let's talk AI. So obviously AI, and I think there's two types of AI, isn't there? There's broad and there's narrow. Yeah. So broad is something that can think. Narrow is something, let it do something. If it does it, cool. You're happy with that. I think that's huge. But I think the AI let's focus on content actually, because I think this is a really interesting proposition in marketing at the moment.
Yeah.
People have created AI content producing tools. Cool. Yeah. That means Muggins over here, Harry Dance doesn't have to write something. But the problem is going back to that idea that Google's a product and focusing on SEO for a bit. Google's a product, so it wants to give the best information. Obviously, SEO people in general or content writers may not be able to provide the best information, but they need a framework to do that. And I think this is where AI and humans will work perfectly, because AI, I think, produces content that is good, maybe not the best, what you want. And there's a lot of kind of examples of that. But what it can do very quickly is create a framework.
Yeah.
Great.
An outline.
Create a framework, give it to a content writer to finish off. And this is where it works well together. And I think AI in that aspect is huge. It's almost creating that process for some writer to expand, develop it. So something like Google, a search engine, whatever it is, can say, brilliant, it's got a great structure, and also it's got the information I need because it's had a human to develop and describe that story. Mm-hmm. So I think, so AI is huge. Use another big buzzword, big data. But I think big data is, well, we all know data as a whole. It's like the data industry.
Becoming more valuable than gold.
Yeah. It's like it's more oiled. This is the time of data. But the thing is with data, slight rant, is data's great for the what, where, and when, but never the why. Sometimes that's the real struggle I find. So using simple versions and your website, go on your website. Someone goes to the contact form at 2:00 in the afternoon. They click the contact form and then they submit it. So you know the what, where, when. The why. Why is the answer? Why did they do that? Why did they do it at that time? Why did they only do 4 characters? All these things. So I think using data to puzzle those pieces together is huge. And using big data, you can become more personalized, a little bit more sophisticated, especially when it comes to I don't know, keyword research or whatever that is, or targeting of what people are searching. to develop your own strategy. But the why is almost where you always need a human at the moment anyway. So that's a huge aspect of it. But no, I'd love that. To be fair, that's some of my favorite days is getting the what, where, and when, and then understanding the why, because then that puzzle becomes beautiful.
No, that's awesome. If we could back up for a minute and just talk about AI, what do you think? Yeah, what are your thoughts on how artificial intelligence will change SEO landscape in the future? If you want me to be more specific, I can.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I think, it'll get better. No, so
do you think so?
I'm being.
Do you think that because people are putting out, the AI is putting out, like, for instance, do you think it's leveled the playing field for some people who maybe don't speak as English as well, or let's just say not everybody is Edgar Allan Poe when it comes to writing, if I can use that analogy.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that the amount of content and the quality, I mean, yes, you can put out crappy content with AI, but so can a normal human being. But do you think that it will only make the internet better in regards to the quality of content?
So I think probably there's two sides of AI here, isn't there? There's AI used by the search engines and there's AI used by us.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about both.
Yeah, so I think the search engine ones will get better. That will be better for the world in the sense of actually you're making, going back to that idea, Google's product, what it wants to do, best results for the consumer. Because if it doesn't, people don't use it, people don't use their adverts. Cool, they've got their incentive, they've got their carrot, chase it. AI for the marketing individuals, the individuals of the world, you're right, you're perfect in the sense of saying it will help produce content.
Yeah.
Is that a good or bad thing? This is the question, because I think potentially it can produce crappy content like you touched upon. So can human. So there's where you hope Google sets that stuff off. I think it's good because it helps develop stories for people who maybe, as you touched upon, English aren't the second language or first language, or they're not linguistically focused. Because I'm dyslexic. I told you that earlier. Yeah. I'm word blind. So actually, my writing is pretty poor. However, you get me writing on certain topics, I can write for days. It may not be good, but something like AI can help structure a little bit more, create something a little bit more of a process for myself that I can say, oh, these are the headings I go to. And then hopefully you bring value to the content. The aspect that more is better, I wouldn't buy into, in the sense of if we've got AI, everyone can produce content. I don't think that's a good thing. Yeah. But I think actually that maybe, unfortunately, that's Google's carrot to work out how to, because you may not have heard, they've just done the helpful content update 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Basically a way of, they're starting to move towards saying, if you've got rubbish content, we're not interested. That's that kind of thing. And that's huge. And I think that's essential, because if it is rubbish, then why are we giving it the time of the day just because it's got some links, as an example?
Yeah. But hasn't that always been the case with them, whether it's written by a human or a bot, a robot, or AI assisted? It's always been the case that they're not interested in crappy content.
I think.
Yeah.
That's not always been the case.
Probably going back. Yeah.
2010.
Back to pre-Penguin. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. That was grim days. I knew you could do. Was it? We worked with a motor or a car, quite a large car manufacturer, and we knew if we wrote down like basically car for sale for 7% of the content on that page, it would appear on page 1, position 1. Yeah. So it's just keyword stuffing at its best. Yeah. Didn't care. I think it is. You're right. But then the helpful content update, the difference is it's now evaluating a website as a whole rather than a page. Yeah. And I think that's the big thing, because actually you don't want to give the love to a website that just has one good page. You want to give it to a website that's constantly churning out good stuff for people.
An authority site.
Yeah. So that
you really need to build an authority site nowadays.
Yeah. And I think everyone talks about the expertise, authority, trust kind of like aspect of the algorithm. And you've got all those things of going, okay, I can see where you're trying to get to, Mr. Google, Mr. Bing, whatever it is. because randomly, Bing's part of the algorithm, I'm sure this is correct, has grammar in it. Google doesn't, but Bing's got grammar. So you're like, you all know what you're aiming for. How quickly we get there is question mark, but you can see it building in. And yeah, I'm for that, to be honest. Because I'll be honest, I've got a little baby out there.
Yeah.
At night time, when you've got worry, like, oh God, and you Google what potentially the symptom comes up, and then something's just like the worst thing you've ever read. You're like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. So you go to the authority sites like the NHS for us, and you're like, okay, it's not that bad. Yeah. And that's just because things aren't being ranked. Sometimes they're being ranked in priority that isn't actually the credibility that's needed for that.
Yeah. It's like sites like WebMD. And I think they have doctors on staff that audit the content and editorial staff and so on and so forth. And so so that side of things. But what about on the search engine side of things? How do you think search engines will use AI to rank websites? So for instance, do you think personalization will come more and more into play in regards to
it will. And I say it sounds a bit sad. Yeah, I sound a bit sad about that because I like serendipity. Sometimes I like, for example, like in a news website, when I don't like personalizing the news because I'm like, oh, but I may be interested in something that I've never heard of. May not be the case. Yeah. But that's what I like. But yeah, I think the more intense the AI gets, so obviously Rank Brain was launched about 3 years ago, or whatever it was. Yeah. Probably longer. But like definitely longer. But yeah, they've started incorporating AI more significantly. I think it will be a personalized experience. And I think actually that means an SEO's job, digital marketing person's job, changes. Because actually, what is the job? You're not focusing on appearing on page one, position one. What you're focusing on is getting your content in front of the most people. Because you can't define it by I'm on page one for said term. No. You can define it by I'm getting clicked because of the value of my content. Or I'm getting the website structured in a way that allows people to use it. And I think SEO will slowly move towards that sort of search manipulator to, I don't know, more of a content creator, architect of a website, user journey sort of individual, where actually you're creating website, helping create the websites, helping create the user journey that reflects your audience in a personalized way. And it's exciting, but it's intimidating. Yeah.
I wonder if it's going to replace us. It'll, some of the jobs we're doing will be replaced by algorithms and bots and automation.
I think some will. I don't think all will, but I think the nature of it is is that a good thing or a bad thing? And that's a different question, because I think some of the stuff they can replace, they probably should, because
I agree with you.
If it's not giving a good enough, because I had the most insane talk with a client once. Yeah. And this is genuine, a real conversation. The client went to me, and this was only 2 years ago. He went, I want to appear in search results, Harry. How do I do it? And I was like, well, X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. And he went, well, can't I just in my code write naked Britney Spears? And I went, pardon? And he goes, well, I don't really care who gets onto on our site, but if they're searching naked Britney Spears, maybe one of them's a businessman. And I went, I don't understand how to process this information. The answer is no, and the answer will be never. But I think why I bring that example up is because
that's amazing.
Obviously, people think like that, and I didn't expect it, but people are insane. You want to give the best user journey to someone. That's what SEO's job is, realistically. Yeah. It used to be appearing in search results. Now it's giving the best journey. And by that, I mean, are you looking for some ham tonight? Cool. Let's get a ham page from a website in front of you that reflects what you want. You want it tonight? Cool. That's got a delivery slot tonight. Brilliant. As an SEO, you go back to a client and said, I got this individual. He bought ham, delivered tonight, £4.50 to you. Cool. I've done my job. And actually, that is your job. You're providing a service to the consumers now. You're not providing it to Google. So it's a good thing. But naked Britney Spears isn't my jam. I don't know. This could be cropped very poorly. Actually, this could be very poorly. But no, not me.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's it's search intent. It has to be.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
The commercial intent, of the words, and so on and so forth, and obviously this particular individual needed some education on keywords and commercial intent and buyer keywords and top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel keywords and
see that's perfect what you just said, because this is where digital marketing becomes more marketing.
Yes,
because historically marketing people or digital marketing, like an SEO, when I started out, we had a directory service line where we had 6 people that would crawl directories and add our clients.
Yeah.
Who would just go. And then we had people who, like myself, who would do like meta descriptions, meta titles, a bit of structured data, whatever it was. But we didn't think like marketers. We felt like people that could change something to appear in Google kind of thing. And actually, it's called digital marketing. We should be doing marketing. I don't know why we're not. I don't know why we're still not, to be fair. We're still not, some of us, but
I remember a marketer. He's I can't remember his name, but I got connected through him through the Warrior Forum. And he's like, Matt, we're marketers. Like, I don't know why we call it internet marketing. Like, we're internet marketers. Like, it's a medium of marketing, whether it's
we're a cog.
And he learned from Jay Abraham and paid quite a hefty sum of money to learn from Jay Abraham. And he was just kind of coaching me, and it was kind of neat. I don't even remember how I got connected to him, but and he's like, man, it's just marketing. Like, we don't need to. I don't understand why we need to like put the word digital in front of it. I mean,
exactly. I got real kicking early in my career because of that. Like, my ego was destroyed. This ego, I was just like, I was doing really well in my career. My chest was up, all the feathers were out. I was just like, here we go. And we had a meeting talking about the marketing team. I was in a team of 18 individuals, and they put on the board like who's going to be managing who in the team, like the staff structure. And I was like, why isn't a non-marketer? Why is a non-digital marketer managing me? Why is the director? I was like, I'm my own entity. I'm like, surely on this board, on this flowchart, Harry Dance is over there on the right by himself with his assistant. And then I kind of went to my director afterwards. I was just like, what? Can you explain that? He's just like, you do realize digital marketing is marketing. I was like, well, yeah. And it's just like, marketing is for a company, and there's lots of angles to that. And my feathers disappeared. I went, you're correct, aren't you? And as soon as you see that, you're like, and I do the marketing for Kayo Digital as a whole, like event stuff. And you realize actually, when you look at the bigger picture, it's, offline, online, wherever it is, offline's experience, online's convenience. I don't care how you put it. It's all marketing.
Yeah, it's all marketing.
Yeah.
That's why I think people also, like, people want to learn about digital marketing. And certainly I told you my journey. I typed in how to make money online in Google, and that started my thing.
Yeah.
But like, learning the actual facets of the fundamentals, if you will, like you have a degree in psychology. I mean, that helps you understand people. And I'm sure.
I'm not sure about that.
No, that it's come in handy in regards to.
It's some things a bit like, but I think the nature of like university in the UK anyway, or if you don't use it enough, it doesn't stick. I do use bits and bobs, but like I'd be so much hyperbole if I went, every day I go back to my psychology degree where I learn about the foot in the door concept and stuff like that. Yeah. But you do. But I think marketing is experience, isn't it? I actually think it is one of those careers you can do it, and the more experience you've got, and the more people you listen to and get different opinions. And that's the thing, it's opinions, actually. It's not just your own experience. It's not the bell curve. You have the frameworks. So you've got like the marketing funnel. You've got the pestle analysis, soft stack, whatever it is, all these really good things that actually benefit you. But actually, it's how you use them and how people think about stuff. And that's what I find valuable. Like, it's how people think. Yeah.
I guess what I was alluding to was, like, for instance, I read Dan. I would be considered by some people, like, I take a direct response slant to marketing. And I was heavily influenced by that. No idea why, but Dan Kennedy. I mean, I'm probably not the only one. Ryan Dice has been significantly influenced by him. And his book, The Ultimate Marketing Plan, like, you know, and copywriting, like Bill Glazer, who was Dan's former business partner and used to own GKIC and the rights to all of those things. And now what's his name? Russell Brunson owns the entire library for Dan Kennedy, and he was his student at one time, and now he owns all his stuff. Which is remarkable. But the point I'm trying to make, and I'll get to it, is that, you know, reading his book, The Ultimate Marketing Plan, helped me understand that there's three things to marketing. There's medium, message, and market. And if you don't know who if you don't know who your market is, then it doesn't matter what medium you use. Whereas what I found, or message, you're gonna have the wrong message if you don't know who your market is. And he talked about that, and it's so profoundly stuck to me to this day. And a lot of clients I found, even when I was at the dealership, for Pete's sake, they just wanted me to slap up a message on Google or slap up a Facebook post and think that was going to work. And get leads. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute here. We got to identify who our target customer is in regards to who's buying the car. What does the person look like who's buying the entry-level vehicle that we're selling, the sedan? Who's buying the SUV or the crossover? Who's buying the larger SUV and crossover? Who are they? What is their persona? What do they look like? Let's get into the database. You talked about data. Let's get into the CRM, because we have all this data about when people buy a car in North America, they literally spill their guts in regards to what they do for a living, if they finance it, what they do, how much money they make, where they work, how old they are, how many kids they have, and so on and so forth. There's so much data there to pull and build personas around, then write ads for, like I said, the message, and then take your campaign to market. Whether that channel is Facebook or Google Ads or YouTube or whatever the case may be. So that's what I was alluding to.
No, exactly. And I should have really talked about Kayo Digital a bit, but let's say this is my 30 seconds of doing that. Sure, I think that the huge thing that we've brought in and what's making us different in our market, in the sense of the fishpool we're fighting in, or however you define it, is it's consumer first. Like, I don't care what your business owner says. I don't care about your ego. I want to talk to the people we're building it for, we're doing marketing for, whatever it is, and using that data, what, where, and when, as I kind of touched on. Then also understanding the why, because there's been a really good study that shows, let's say you're talking to one persona, the John Smith I spoke about earlier. John Smith, he always buys Mercedes-Benz. Cool. You only need to talk to 5 John Smiths for your website, and you get enough data. All you need is 5, and that's why everyone doesn't realize that you need such little amount. But 5 John Smiths, talk them, ask the right questions, the open-ended ones. Why do you want a Mercedes-Benz? Cool, brilliant. How did you find us? How will you find it? And you start building up these consumer profiles, and then you do the consumer journey, and then back, like 4 steps back to come to where we are now. Then who cares if you do SEO? Who cares how the search engine stuff works? Like, do you know who he is? Cool. Do you know how he gets to the website? Cool. You've already built that. Add some data around it. What would he search? Cool. And then actually, you're doing SEO for, I don't know, doing meta descriptions for 9% of your page, your website, when you realize only 10% of it gets used. Cool. Yeah. We're now prioritizing exactly how we work. And this is the thing, like, any competitor can look at one of my websites and go, XYZ is wrong. And I could do it to them. But where the knowledge comes from and why we're successful is because you can prioritize judging on the persona. I can leave stuff that's wrong, because at the end of the day, if their whole website was perfect, they wouldn't need me. Like, that's the thing. So prioritize on the persona. Don't worry about the, like, the tool in front of you, rely on who you're talking to. And it is huge, and people forget it. And it blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, Harry, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I can't believe how fast the time has gone by.
That's cool.
It's been absolutely awesome. How can our listeners get in touch with you online if they want to?
Cool. I've got a pretty easy name, Harry Dance. It's more of an act, but yeah. So, but now I'm on LinkedIn. Harry Dance, based in Kent. On Twitter, I think it's HD Online, HD_online, maybe. But so, and if they want to drop me an email, Harry@Kayo.Digital. But really, thank you for this. It was cool. No, I loved it.
Yeah, we'll make sure to put your those links in the show notes. And thanks again for coming on the show.
No, thanks so much, Matt. I really do appreciate that.